everybody's here. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to the special call city board meeting on this day, Tuesday, June 25th, 2024. Of course, there are no minutes to approve because this is a special call meeting for us to adopt the certified tax rate and to pass our budget for the 24-25 year. Before we go any further, though, at this time I'd like to ask for a word of prayer. Go and be bow, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you humble as we know how once again, asking for your guidance and your patience as you guide us through the business of the city of Brownsville. Thank you for the great opportunities that's been bestowed upon us as we grow until a city is welcoming for all, that's safe for all, and to always give you the honor and the glory for which it all belongs. We thank you for your blessings and your guidance in this day and every day. In Jesus' name, amen. And we stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for attending this morning, our special call board meeting. We have two, as printed the previous agenda, we have two orders of business. One is the second reading of orders number 1022, which is the budget for our 24-25 tax year, on resolution number 1062, the certified tax rate. At the end of this agenda, there is an opportunity for, well, during the ordinance, we'll have to close out for a public hearing for those comments and questions from the community. And then we'll go back into session. And of course, at the end, as by state law, we have to present an opportunity for anyone that has 2 minutes of comments or questions on anything on today's agenda. Okay, that's the order of business which we'll proceed. The first thing you have here, the alderman and those here, we have the budget. We have ordinance number 1022 on the second reading. What you have done on your first sheet is a summary. Of course, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 funds that we allocate services and funding and expenditures from the city of Brownsville. First, of course, is Fund 110, which is our general fund. It's our operational fund. This is funded through tax dollars. The revenue we see here with tax dollars is $7 million. License and permits, 67. Intergovernmental, $11,653,000. That's where a majority of your grants are, $5 million being grants. Charges for services, $2,300. Debt credits in 40. Fines, $255,000. Other, $274,000. Tax equivalent being a payment in lieu of taxes. For our some of our electrical assets is $817,000. I always feel that number could be higher from TVA, giving us a total revenue of $20,203,336. Okay, the expenditures are summarized as follows. General government, $3,242,000. Public safety, $8,794,000. That is the bulk of your, almost half of your budget in this particular budget year is being allocated for public safety. That's police, fire, animal control, and I think stormwater maintenance. Public works is $2,467,000. Health and culture is $1,158,000. And community development at $5,299,000 is encompassed of the grants that come in and out of the city of Brownsville, giving you a total expenditure of $20,962,000. Okay, the difference in the two is $758,872, which is our proposed deficit in this year's budget, our projected spending and expenditures. Of course, we can balance that with our fund balance. We get a balance of $5,496,000. After this $758,000 deficit, we'll have a fund balance of $4,737,000 in the general fund. When we look to go to Fund 121, we have revenue of $342,000. Total expenditures is the same amount. Well, no, sorry. Total revenue is $342,000. Expenditures $290,000, giving us a total of $290,000 in expenditures. All right. Then the difference between the two, of course, will be to the good $52,000 in state street aid with a ending fund balance of $68,000. State street aid money is allocated to us from the state for paying employees to maintain our street. It is not enough money to do what we need to do, as we know. Fund 400, the revenue of Fund 400 is $2,142,000. Of course, the expenditures are the same, so a little bit different. The difference in, I'm sorry, is 200. The total of the revenue is $2,142,000. The total expenditure is $2,417,000, giving you a difference of $274,000. Fund 400 is your solid waste fund, but the balance, the ending balance will be $1,448,076 after this budget. We do have to purchase a roll-off truck and some roll-offs out of the solid waste fund. Fund 500 is our drug fund. It balances itself out at 15,000 in expenditures and revenues. And Fund 800, of course, is our community development fund. The revenues for that is $6,000. Total expenditures $2,500. But we have a healthy fund balance 1.72 to sell of some property. Okay, those are your 5 funds, a summary of each. Of course, total revenue and total expenditures we talked about in Fund 110. I'm going to the next page, showing the deficit, showing the beginning fund balance and the ending fund balance. Are there any questions from the alderman? I just did the overall review. We went through the budget in our first reading, also in our budget workshop. Are there any questions regarding Fund 110? And then, are there any questions regarding the other funds, 121, 400, 500, and 800 from the alderman? Are there any questions concerning the budget? Okay. Hearing none, I'd like to call for a motion. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 1022. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Do I hear a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions, concerns, or comments? Okay. At this time, I'd like to close out our city council session, open up for public comments. Are there any questions from the public concerning ordinance number 1022 on the second reading, the budget itself? Any questions?
Is that overall, is that regarding the tax?
This is the budget. This is we allocate our revenues and expenditures.
Okay, and I know you're saying that, but I know you guys are reading that stuff and you're reading off a lot of that stuff and it's hard for us to kind of keep up with that. Is there any way we can get copies of that, or we should be able to get copies of what you're reading?
Oh, yeah, well, we publish it in the paper on social media and everything. We didn't have printed copies, a pretty thick packet. But Ms. Bash, Mr. Banks, how do you facilitate it?
I can get copies and calculate the process.
Okay. We can give you a general summary of it. Well, like I said, it's 5 different funds, it's a pretty thick packet. Okay, but we did publish it in the paper as required by public notice. Good question. Any questions from the alderman or from the public? Okay. Hearing none, we'll call off our public hearing and go back into session. We have a motion and a second on the table to approve ordinance number 1022. Are there questions concerned from the alderman? Okay. Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay. Ordinance 1022 passes. All right. And then we have resolution number 1062. This may preclude more to your question, man. 1062 is adoption of the certified tax rate. As required during an appraisal year, we have, there are just different values of appraised in residential and commercial property. Where the state then comes in and makes a general estimate about what you should charge in a certified tax rate to generate the same amount of funding. Some of those numbers that we've seen, some people's appraisal value is going to go up a lot, some people going to go down. There's no designated magic point. There's opportunity for everybody to go in also to do a reevaluation or an appeal. That's what I'm trying to say. An appeal of those certified tax notices when they came out. The tax rate we were addressing today is a reduction in the rate. We are currently at $1.97, or really $1.96,666. So rounded up to $1.97 per $100 assessed value. Today we propose to lower that rate to $1.48 per 100 value due to the readjustment down on the tax rate due to the appraisal rate or the reappraisal year for the property value. So we have resolution number 1062, which is a recommendation to go to $1.48 per 100 assessed value from $1.97 what we currently got. Okay. At this time, I'd like to, before we go into a vote, I'd like to Alderman ask any questions or comments.
Hey, Mayor, so we got the new certified rate from the state, and a new certified rate to bring in the same amount of money that we were currently at the 196 rate, in our year last year, 133, because we had an increase in the appraisals. It's a certified rate that would bring in the same tax amount of dollars that we had come in last year. Is that correct?
That's what I've been told. I do know that some of these assets in terms of utilities, there are two different net rates coming from the appraisals office and from the state. So we're looking at, that was the recommendation they made. They made the same recommendation in 2019 as well, it was up.
So we're pretty confident though that the state with the certified tax rate, after all, it is certified. I'm assuming the comptroller's office, certifies that rate at 133 to bring in the same amount of revenue. So in fact, if we certify a rate of 148, that would be a 15-cent tax increase over last year. I just want to make sure I'm correct on that.
Right, well, what the state is saying, and some of the numbers we haven't seen flush out yet, because we're on a rate appraisal year. In 2019, we adjusted the certified tax rate up. Now, they're saying the same amount of money, but we're also looking at a deficit budget. Some things that we have concentrated in our budget and planning for the future is the philosophy that we have to go down on our tax rate. Let's find a rate that is comfortable for the citizens of the community and so for the business of the city. We have things like longevity pay we put in, that has to be sustainable. Paving has to be sustainable. 8% increase in our insurance benefits. If you have close to, $8 million in public safety, that's where the concentration of money is going, and it has to be maintained. I think people want, and I know we need public safety. Now, when you talking about assessed value, you take your property value, your appraised value, take 25% of that, and then per 100, you just put your tax rate to that. So the 15 cents between the certified rate and what we're proposing today, the $1.48, is a comfortable rate. It will not overburden the taxpayers of the community. This will also allow us to sustain the benefits that we need for the community. Some years, like we have $5 million in grants. The grants come and go, but sustainable things like benefits for the people that work for the city of Brownsville, provide the services, I think is a reasonable rate. This is, according to the calculation, we do this every day. We know what the numbers look like and what the future looks like, and we're in a growing period. So we're going to adjust down, which we are going to have to. I think it's pertinent we adjust down to a rate that's comfortable, so we can continue to do business, but not hurt the taxpayer. Any other comments or questions?
Hey, Mayor, just one other comment. So last month we had the auditor in here and gave a really sound audit. And we know, as he mentioned too, that we had a higher projected deficit in last year's budget, and obviously through good management and watching what we were doing, we were able to shrink that down a little bit. We had talked this time about obviously having some room in there, watching what we do, and probably get closer down to the $300,000 or $400,000 mark. I think that was pretty reasonable. With a $4.7 million fund balance. Just my last comment is I don't think in this period of growth where we're competing with all these other surrounding communities, I just think it sends the wrong message to have a tax increase, and I won't support it.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the audience?
With this certified tax increase, we are ensuring that what the city needs for its payments and all of this, because more like a guarantee. We can't guarantee it, but those are the citizens of Brownsville that are looking for the payment and the things that the city provides.
Yes.
Can we get out? Is there any way we're going to ensure that the services continue or increase or greater?
Yes, we are always trying to provide the very best services, and I can say to some of these ladies and gentlemen in the room, that is the key here. We are service orientated. We, of course, so we mentioned our fund balance. We use the fund balance to leverage against the grants. If we have $5 million of grants and they're reimbursable, we have to have money up front to make sure that we can leverage. And in the event we have to borrow money, we have a good sound bond rate in case of emergency. But the services are the key. I say it all the time. The men and women who work for the city of Brownsville are the best. We got to make sure the benefits are comfortable. We can't pay $22 an hour. We know that we can't compete with the salaries. But what we have a strong emphasis is on our benefits package. We're looking at subscription-based health plan. We're looking at longevity pay in this budget. We're looking at 4% across the board in cost of living increase with a Christmas bonus. We're trying to make sure that, well, as these other growth periods come, the other communities, other companies come in, I'm trying to say, that we still have good employees. So the services, we have 3 grants now that we're allocated for paving. We do have put some more money into the budget for paving. We purchased equipment, and the biggest issue is having the personnel. If you see a $1.9 million increase in your public safety, that's what the emphasis is in this budget, and that continues to be our fire, police, animal shelter, and the things that we have to provide public safety to have qualified people there. So yes, we will continue to, as we always, provide the best services, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you want that, and people want that, and that's what we want to provide. Any other questions or comments? Okay. At this time, a resolution number 1062 to adopt a certified tax rate of $1.48 per 100 for the new coming tax year. Do I hear a motion? I'm going to hear a motion. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Been moved and properly second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
I vote aye. Okay. Resolution 1062. All right. The next thing, the only thing we have on our agenda for today is public comments. At this time, we close out our session, and we go into public comments. But where anyone has any comments or questions about anything on today's agenda, 2 minutes, please. Are there any questions or comments?
I want to ask.
Yes, ma'am.
I couldn't quite hear your votes. A couple of you were kind of low. Couldn't hear Travis. I couldn't hear.
Voting yes.
Yes. They voted yes.
You were voting yes for the tax increase.
For the certified tax rate of $1.48.
Okay. What about Antoine Taylor? I know he's been out sick.
He's excused today.
So you make decisions without everybody being here?
When we have a unanimous, I voted yes as well. So we're 1, 2, 3. 1.
Okay. So you're saying that you're voting for the increase, correct?
I'm saying we're voting to set the certified tax rate at $1.48, which is $1.97 less. 15 cents over what the state recommended.
I understand that. You
Okay.
don't have to do what the state recommends. That's between
Sure.
you and the council alderman to make a
Correct.
decision about the increase. But are you taking in consideration, there are a lot of people here that are on fixed incomes.
Yes.
And I understand what you're saying about services in the city. I understand that too. But the services haven't been all that good, not where I've been living. I have to call all the time about my garbage not being picked up. It's always something on the animals running loose in the street. I have to call all the time. I can't reach anybody half the time. So I understand what you're saying about the services, but what about us that are on fixed incomes? Because if you go up on the tax rate, it may seem like 15 cents to you, but people on fixed incomes, if they have to, that means the insurance is gonna go up. All of that stuff's gonna increase your rate of your homeowners insurance. All of that's gonna go up. If you go up,
Well,
there's gonna be a
yeah,
increase that's passed on to us, and a lot of people are not in a position to do that here.
Right.
Many people here are elderly, fixed income, and poor. And so that's coming off the backs of the ones of us who do happen to have own property.
yes, we're taking all that into consideration.
But I don't think that's fair, not at this time.
Well, we're actually lowering the tax rate because the appraised value was up. If the appraised value's gonna change, we would never even have this
Well,
conversation.
that's what I'm saying, the
Yes.
raised value went up, but that's gonna affect us too.
That's why we're
Value-
lowering the tax rate.
You're lowering it, but why have it increased at all at this time?
Well, we're lowering the tax rate. We didn't have to lower it at all, but we're lowering the tax rate to meet the appraised value because this is the time the tax rate is changing, okay? But the state made the recommendation. We've always been a little above what the state recommended in order to provide the best service. So that's nothing any different. Somehow or another, the media got it that we were raising tax rates. We're going above the certified tax rate, but
Right.
we're lowering the tax. We're lowering the tax rate. It's not an increase, it's actually lowering. So this just depends on perspective and how you look at it. But we've taken into consideration all the people and citizens of Brownsville, all of them. Any other questions or comments? Yes, sir.
By the same token, do we not have a population increase also?
Not at this time.
Not at this time, okay.
And that's part of, we're having those growing pains, but we haven't provided these services, public safety, but we hadn't increased our tax base. We haven't had any new houses or subdivisions. We have a couple of industrial properties that have been sold. We're getting there.
People are leaving here because there's so much, you're putting it on the backs of the few people that are here. I know you don't have to do anything at all, but you're choosing to. I know you're saying you're going by the certified rate, but it's still, as far as I'm concerned, you may be lowering it, but it's still gonna be an increase to some of us.
Okay. Some people property value went up, some went down, residential,
So the ones who went up, especially if it doubles, that's a big increase.
when you look at the assessed value for, say your house value double, you take what would have been 25% of your appraised value, and then do it per 100, and you can get down to a closer number. We're not talking, I know in theory, people, we don't want to raise taxes, but we have to be prudent about how we do it. We've seen in the past, in some other entities, I'm not gonna say, but they had to go back to back, raise taxes quite a bit. And we just wanna make sure we're looking down the road, and we know we have some growing pains. We know that this is slight difference from what you say, what you would pay under the certified rate, but this is the sweet spot. This is where we need to be low enough to make it doesn't be a burden to you. I don't think it will be, but let's look at what it looks individual. Did you get that's a person, we can talk. But if you got a reappraised value, you should have got a tax notice and had opportunity to appeal it. And at this time, we lowering the tax rate to kind of meet that, but still be able to operate the city and not put you in a jam later. Yes, sir.
Have we added on to our public service?
In this budget,
Employees?
yes, in this budget, it does ask for, or has more employees, with longevity pay, additional police officers, police department, along with leasing some police cars.
Okay, and
Yes.
it's not getting the horse before the buggy, the buggy before the horse?
We have to set our budget by the end of this month and file it with the state. This is a projection of the expenditures. If we don't fill those positions, we won't necessarily have to, we're recruiting every day, but we have additional.
Population is not growing though. Your
But-
population is not growing, but you're putting the increase to increase.
We're lowering the rate because we know we have, during the course of the year, we will have some tax base increase. We don't have those populations yet, but there are a lot of money, a lot of time been spent in planning, with the planning commission and with the BZA and with our long-range plan for that. We are very close to landing. We've annexed in property, but we haven't built anything on it yet.
Maybe I should have been in previous meetings, but the Blue Oval, I'm sure we're mainly talking about that increase. Are you all in contact with these guys? When is this gonna take effect? We already getting all these increases, but we don't have no Blue Oval people coming in yet. You know what I mean? And if Blue Oval people was coming in, maybe we wouldn't necessarily need these tax increases, and we could give these raises, but we're going ahead and putting in mind that we're gonna hire more people, but, you know, we haven't got there yet. It doesn't seem like to me.
We have to I'm in constant contact with Ford, with our planning, LRK, Lunar Ricks and Kids. We've done a lot of things through the Joint Economic Community Development Board. They've done all the things that you're talking about. We have, when you look at our website, we're revamping it, but you'll see all the plans, just advice, housing projections, when it will come. So we didn't pull numbers out of there. We had a lot of research done around what the growth looks like for the city. So I appreciate your concerns. We definitely invite you to all our planning commission and city council. Any other questions or comments about anything on the agenda? Okay, that concludes that. That concludes the public comment about the meeting tonight, this morning. So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion we adjourn. Do I get a motion? So moved. Do I get a second? It's been moved moved and properly second. All in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, say. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.